Refraction, diffraction, and white noise. What do you mean white noise? Someone screams down a hallway, and they have a bunch of other people in the hallway, kind of like in a school. You have a hard time hearing them, right? What if you take the same person and take them down the hall and around the corner and another corner, and then they're screaming down that way? You probably won't hear them very well, will you? It has something to do with gain, right? Gain. Here's a big photographic mystery which you wouldn't think would be a photographic mystery. But it is, because you could ask anybody, the best photographers in the world, just ask them this question. You know, hey, you're a famous professional photographer. And this isn't important to, obviously, composition. Well, it is, especially when it comes to black and white photography. You just say, why is a prime lens a really good prime lens? There's plenty of crappy prime lenses, especially older ones. Really crummy older ones. There's plenty of really, really good older ones like Leica, Zeiss, Contax. Because it's old doesn't mean it's bad. However, old wide lenses are bad. Just ask me, why do you think a prime lens, a good prime lens, is better than a zoom lens? First thing they're going to say is bokeh, or of course it's not an explanation, and descriptions are certainly not explanations. First thing they'll say is, well, speed. I'm a portrait photographer, I need the f1.8, f1.4, f1.2 lens. No, we're not talking about speed here. Let's just compare, like, say, some prime lens in the 70 to 200 range at 2.8 or even f4. Okay, it doesn't have to be all the way open. A 70 to 200 2.8 compared to some prime lens. It could be an f1.4 lens, an f1.8, like a Nikkor 85mm 1.8 D series or 1.4 D series, and you're just shooting it at 2.8 or f4. So that it's within the same depth of field f-stop range as the zoom lens. So why is the prime lens better? Why is a good prime lens better than a zoom lens? Well, just because it is, because it's a prime lens. It's made specifically. Here's where they'll always answer this way, and of course it doesn't mean anything. Well, the prime lens is designed specifically for that focal. There's no zooming elements, and well, no, you're giving a very detailed description of what's going on. The prime lens, we know, is designed. Let me grab a prime lens. The prime lens is designed specifically for that focal length, other than focusing out element or a group of elements to bring the image into focus. You're not actually explaining anything, you're just describing it. Well, that's the reason why a prime lens is better. It's designed for that specific focal, and there's no... That's just a fine description. That's not an explanation. You won't find an explanation from anybody. Just type in, why is a prime lens better than a zoom lens? And 100% of the hits you'll get will never actually tell you. What they will do is they'll say stuff like, well, a prime lens is better than a zoom lens because it causes you to stop and think, and it does do that. And it slows you down. It slows you down to make you think about the composition. It keeps you from being lazy. You actually have to zoom with your feet, and then you think more about the composition. All of that's true, but that's ancillary. That's a secondary attribute of a... that's like saying a bicycle's better than a car because it gives you exercise. You're not being a fat, lazy SOB driving a car. You're riding a bike instead of a car, then you're exercising, so it's good for you. That's still, that's not an explanation, so... The question remains, once again, in the great photographic mystery that no one will give you an answer to because they don't frigging know. Is that why is it good? There's plenty of crappy prime lenses. Even modern ones that are over-engineered to hell and back, like the Nikkor 105mm 1.4. So why is a good prime lens better than a zoom lens? Don't know, I've exhausted all the possibilities. The best you actually might get is, someone will say more elements have more diffraction. Well, that's true. That's still not an explanation why a good prime lens is better than a zoom lens. Well, the answer is micro contrast, lens fidelity. Well, we're getting somewhere. Some people will say, well, a prime lens does a better job of maintaining a sharper focus along the outer edges of the frame. Well, this is also generally true, but let's just say to hell with it, and we're sticking a FX lens on a DX crop sensor, so we're not worried about the extraneous vignetting along the edges of the shot. So now we can eliminate out that crap. Let's just crop the image, so we're not worried about vignetting. Now, let's still ask the question, why the hell is a prime lens better than a zoom lens? So if we look at the crop images of FX lenses, it's like, why the hell is it better? Especially in black and white. I've actually coined the term lens fidelity, which is what it is. Zeiss calls it micro contrast. It's called lens pop, but It's specifically more than that. It's that the low gain inner tonals. Okay, you know what low gain would be? Low gain, shadows. What do you think high gain would be like on this? We have high reflectance on these pink and green areas of these microchips taken with the Fuji macro lens. So low gain would be all the shadow stuff down here, right? The intensity in lux or luminal value actually dropping on the sensor is not that high, is it? No. So low gain, we can say shadows, we could say low reflectance, we could say a lot of things as pertains to low gain. Low gain intertonal details. The shading. You could draw a stick figure with a pencil. That's wonderful. Well, that drawing of a stick figure of someone's face, that would be the highlights, wouldn't it? So, there's nothing there. The image is flat, right? It's just a drawing, a pencil drawing. Yeah. What is the intertonals? Why is a low element count prime lens better than a zoom lens? What do you think about it? When you take a pencil drawing of someone's face up another level and do the intermediate shading. You ever taken a pencil and just laid it on its edge back in school and did some shading and give contours and depth? People talk about depth. Now, the one thing that really pisses me off is when people complain about depth on a two-dimensional photograph. It's like, well, what the hell is your damn point? A hologram is as flat as it gets, but it has amazing depth. Why the hell do people... Most of you have never seen a true art hologram, which is absolutely crotch-melting. You've never seen it. What the hell do you think gives depth to like a hardcore artistry pencil drawing? Have you ever seen some of them? Some of them are so good, you would swear to God it was a black and white photograph. There's a lot of them on YouTube. They'll actually sit there and they'll actually draw on a figure or a nude or a face, and after they're done, you swear to God you're looking at a black and white photograph. It jumps. The subject jumps from the background. Well, it can't be. It's just a pencil drawing on a flat sheet of paper. That's not the damn point. So those low-gain intertone, and people that are actually realizing, it's like, I'm going to take that idiot, the idiot that has 500 lenses and covered in tattoos, he might be on to something. He might not be entirely crazy. A certain number of people have gone out and picked up like a really good Zeiss lens, like a 51.4, or some of the, like a lens like this is a 105mm 1.8 Nikkor. Really, it's a 5-element count, old AIS lens. It's not that old, but it's pretty old. This lens is just crotch melting. You use this lens for black and white photography, it's really crotch melting. And then you'll see the serious difference between that and a modern lens is just over-designed to hell and back. Because just because it's a prime lens doesn't mean it's better. Ones that are over-designed, no. So the low-gain intertonals are canceled out by the higher-gain light due to overcorrection. Specifically, this is phase disparity. Phase disparity. When you overcorrect for that phase disparity, I don't know if you know how a hologram is made, but you actually take a single laser light source, and there's many ways to make a hologram. I've got like 6 books on holography. Making holograms is pretty damn hard, even though it doesn't require that much cost-wise. You have a main beam that's split, and you have a reference beam that goes directly to the negative if you're doing... now it's a sensor holography, but you still do old film holography. And then you have your reference beam, and you have your beam that's actually split off from that main beam, and it actually is reflected off of your subject, like a little statue or whatever it is. And the interference pattern on that negative, we have additive construction, and we have constructive and destructive interference. And that phase disparity gives the depth of a true hologram. The hologram on your credit card is like 1/1000th of what a true art hologram is. You can find them on eBay. They're really expensive. They're hard to make, and they're absolutely mind-numbingly beautiful. They're just absolutely off-the-hook beautiful. Most people have never seen one because it's like a lost art. That same sort of disparity exists in a lens if it's over-designed, like a zoom lens, like a 15. And pure element count, you can't say, well, a 9 element's good, because it depends on the type of glass, whether it's ED glass, fluorite glass, how thick the lens element is, because an element's not an element's not an element. Some elements are as thick as 10 other thin elements, so you just can't say, well, it's got X number of elements in it. It's like, yeah, but how the hell thick is it? What sort of glass is it? How is it coated? Coatings really don't matter for all that much. Some of the best lenses in the world, used by some of the masters for the most amazing, famous black and white photographs on Earth ever taken, are using old damn lenses, low element count, and they're not coated at all. I've got quite a few really old uncoated lenses. Coatings do not matter for that much. They do for flare and other things, but if you're a skilled photographer, you know what the hell to keep away from those lenses that are uncoated. You don't shoot into the sun. There's other little dumb things you don't do. These low-gain intertonals are actually lost in the collective capacitance of the glass. Most people don't realize that light is electrical. You know? I don't know what people think light is, and most people don't even care to know. Pretty sure as a photographer it's kind of interesting to have at least a preliminary idea what the hell light is. Do you think, well, glass is an insulator because they use that out on power poles to insulate the power lines. Glass is not only an insulator. Everything is capacitance, resistance, permeability, and permittivity. Glass has a capacitance too. If you don't believe me on that, you could pull up the YouTube video called The Dissectable Capacitor by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, showing you that glass is a capacitor. This is the reason why old microwave bowls that were not microwave safe would explode in the microwave. The reason they exploded is not because they got too hot, but because the actual electromagnetism in the microwave would cause the glass build up capacitance until it blew. You ever heard of transformer blow? Boom! Same thing happens to glass and the non-microwave safe glass in the microwave. Glass is a capacitor. You stick a lot of glass in a lens, what it does is it sucks up, it basically neuters the light. The more it passes through, the more it causes an issue. You can get a perfectly sharp image out of a really high element count zoom lens. You render that sucker in black and white, and a person that doesn't know any better, just like a tone-deaf person doesn't know what the hell's going on. It's like they're tone-deaf. You render that image in black and white, or you look at the desaturated blues. Oh, I mean, it's just night and day. If you look at the image by itself, you think it looks fine, but then you compare it to something that's really awesome like this. Take like a really high element count, 105 millimeter lens, and then compare it to this and render both in black and white. Oh, I mean, crotch-grabbing difference. Just off the hook. So here, once again, we come full circle to just, what do you think someone's answer to, why is a good prime lens better than a zoom lens? And they don't have the answer for you. Because they don't know. Is that important to doing your photography? I'm not saying it is important as a black and white photographer. It's big time important. There's a reason why these magical prime lenses, these old designs, are still made by Nikon, like the 180mm 2.8, the 50mm 1.2. There's a lot of really, like the 35mm f2 D series autofocus. They're still made for a reason. Their simple design is absolutely mind-numbing. Portraiture lenses like the 85mm 1.8D or the 1.4D, these low element count simplex prime lenses exist for a reason. I mean, if there were no advantage to a prime lens, you just say screw it, just own a few zoom lenses, right? As a photojournalist, that actually is the case. I mean, you're not trying to, do fine art photography as a photojournalist. It's all about getting the shot. And convenience is way, way, way more important by far. Micro contrast and rendering and color saturation isn't that freaking important for photojournalism. Who gives a damn? Stick a zoom lens, a good zoom lens on your camera and go out there and hit it. Take a zoom in and take a picture of Kim Kardashian's butt. Or whatever the hell, well, it's a paparazzi. Same thing, photojournalist paparazzi. But you won't get a straight answer out of anybody. Phase disparity. Nobody knows what phase disparity is. Nobody cares about field theory and electricity. If you think light is something other than an electrical circuit, you're really just not that smart. And, you should get a refund on whatever the hell education it is you got. But, I mean, there's a reason why low element count awesome prime lenses are incredible. And no one will give you an answer for that. Well, it just is. Why is it? Well, it's designed for a certain... That's a description. That's not an explanation. Whew. That's a heavy subject. It's too heavy for most people. Like, I don't want to know about that kind of stuff. You're melting my brain. Shut up, fat dude. Yeah, okay. Whatever makes you happy. But if you like these videos, you can always click the link below. Or you could tell me to jump into a active volcano Whatever makes you happy. Okay? Okay. Bye.